Down the silent treatment. The great meeting hall of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. Ambassador Krath from the Valonian Empire sat in his floating chair, looking at the empty human section. 3 months had passed since any human had walked through those doors. The silence felt heavy and wrong. "They just left?" asked Council Speaker Voss. His long tentacles moved nervously as he read the reports on his screen. The blue light from the hologram made his face look worried. The last human to speak in this hall was Commander Torres. She had stood at the speaking platform with her back straight and her voice clear. Her words still echoed in everyone's memory. "The Earth Federation stops all talks with the Galactic Council. Do not call us. Do not visit our space. This is our last message to you." Most council members thought the reason was silly. The humans had asked for new laws to protect refugees. The council voted against it. 847 votes against, only 1 vote for it. It was normal. New species always had to learn how things worked. The humans were young. They had only been traveling in space for 200 years. They would understand soon and come back. But Admiral Nexus from the Craxi Defense Force did not agree. He was a tall, gray-skinned warrior with sharp eyes. His spies had told him strange things. Every human trade ship had disappeared from galactic space in just a few days. They were not destroyed. They were just gone, maybe. "We should see what they are doing in their part of the galaxy," said Counselor Reth. She was small and green with large black eyes that always seemed to be thinking. Speaker Voss looked worried. The last 3 spy ships sent to human space had vanished. No emergency calls. No broken pieces of ships found floating in space. No signs at all. They just disappeared like they never existed. In the deep computer files of the Council, an automatic system was making a record. Day 47 of human silence. Money problems spreading to 17 areas. "We need to do something now." But this message would never be sent. The human communication system that carried 30% of all messages in the galaxy had stopped working. Trade Minister Yalen walked quickly through the council building. His assistant, a young Altarian named Beck, followed behind him with worry on her face. "Sir, the economic reports are getting worse every hour," she said. Yalen stopped at a large screen showing the trade routes of the galaxy. Red lights blinked where there should be green ones. "How many worlds are having problems now?" he asked. 23 worlds report they are running out of important materials. Medical supplies, rare metals, computer parts, all things that human traders used to bring them, Beck answered. The truth was becoming clear. Humans had not just been another trading species. They were different. Most aliens specialized in 1 or 2 things. The Velon traded only in energy crystals. The Craxi sold weapons. The Altarians dealt in information. But humans traded everything. They went everywhere. They filled gaps that nobody else wanted to fill. Captain Drex commanded the merchant ship Star Runner. He was a tough old Craxi who had been trading for 50 years. 2 weeks ago, he had gone to the human station that orbited Kepler 442. The station was always busy with 3 million humans living and working there. But when he arrived, there was only empty space. Not destroyed, not attacked, just gone like it had never been there. "They moved the whole station?" Yalen asked when he heard the report. "How do you move a city in space?" Nobody had an answer. Intelligence Chief Mara was a quiet woman from the Zephyr species. Her people were known for their ability to gather secrets. She had spent weeks trying to understand what the humans were doing. Her report to the emergency council meeting was frightening. "They are not just ignoring us," she said. "They are removing every trace of themselves from areas outside their home territory. Bases taken apart. People moved out. Even automatic message beacons turned off." Dr. Oren was the council's expert on alien psychology. He had studied humans for 20 years. His research showed something the council had missed. "Humans do not forget when someone hurts them," he explained. "Their history shows they are very good at waiting and planning. When they decide to act, they are ready." Far away in space, automatic sensors picked up strange energy readings from human territory. Big ships were moving. Something was being built. The energy patterns were new. The computer databases had nothing like them. Counselor Vex was an old and wise member of the council. He had seen many species join and leave over his long life. He asked the question everyone was thinking. What if they are not angry children having a tantrum? What if they are getting ready for something? The council chamber became very quiet. Outside the great windows, stars twinkled in the darkness of space. Somewhere out there, humanity was doing something, but what? Systems Administrator Quinn was proud of her work. She kept the Galactic Communications Network running. It connected thousands of worlds and billions of people, but lately her job had become impossible. Whole sections of the network were shutting down. Not from attacks or broken equipment, but because parts were being taken away. The humans did not just stop talking to us, she told her team. They took their equipment with them. The humans had built more than anyone realized. Translation programs that helped different species talk to each other. Relay stations that sent messages across the galaxy. Computer codes that kept systems safe. All of it was disappearing. Captain Volt commanded the patrol ship Deep Scanner. He was investigating one of the network failures when his ship's computer started showing error messages. The navigation system could not plan routes through 3 major areas of space. The star maps it used were made by human scientists, and those maps were gone. Engineer Beck tried to use backup systems, but she found something worse. The quantum computers that did complex math for the entire defense grid were missing, not turned off, physically removed from bases across 12 star systems. How did they get past our security? Admiral Nexus demanded. Beck's answer made everyone afraid. Sir, humans designed our security systems. In the hidden parts of the galaxy's computer networks, programs were running quietly. Computer routines that humans had written years ago were getting new instructions. Not viruses or attacks, but normal updates. These updates were slowly cutting galactic systems off from each other. Counselor Nash read the technical reports with growing fear. They are not breaking anything, she said. They are just leaving, and taking everything they built with them. The meaning was clear and terrifying. Humans had not just joined galactic civilization. They had become its brain and nervous system, and now that brain was shutting down. As the council members left their meeting that day, each one looked up at the stars with new eyes. Somewhere in the darkness, humanity was moving, building, planning, and the galaxy was starting to realize how much it needed them. The age of taking humans for granted was ending. What would come next, nobody knew. But everyone was starting to be afraid of finding out. The empty human seats in the council chamber seemed to watch them all as they left. Silent, patient, waiting. The Ripple Effect Trade Minister Yalen stood before the biggest holographic display in the council building. Red warning lights covered the star map like a disease spreading across the galaxy. Each red light meant trouble. Each one meant a world running out of things it needed to survive. 17 worlds yesterday. 24 today. How many tomorrow? He whispered to himself. His assistant, a young Altarian named Beck, handed him another report with shaking hands. The Zerian system is reporting food shortages, she said quietly. The Helios mining colonies need medical supplies. The agricultural worlds in the Vega sector cannot get the special fertilizers they need. Yalen closed his eyes. All supplied by human traders, he said. The truth was becoming impossible to ignore. For 200 years, humans had quietly made themselves necessary. They did not demand attention or special treatment. They just worked. They filled every gap in the galactic economy that others found boring or unprofitable. While other species focused on big, important trades, humans carried small packages to forgotten worlds. They delivered spare parts to distant mining stations. They brought medicine to plague zones that others avoided. They connected isolated colonies to the greater galaxy, and nobody had noticed how important this was until it stopped. Captain Drex was learning this lesson the hard way. The tough old Craxi trader had run the same trade route for 30 years. But now his usual stops were becoming nightmares. On Kepler 442, the empty space where the human station used to be, mocked him. On New Ceres, the mining operation was shutting down because they could not get replacement parts for their equipment. On Haven Colony, people were getting sick because medical supplies were running out. How did 3 million people just disappear? He asked his crew for the 100th time. His first officer, a quiet Zephyr named Windwalker, shook her head. My sensors show no signs of destruction, Captain. No debris field. No radiation signatures. They did not die here. They moved. All of them, everything. But how do you move a space station the size of a small moon? How do you relocate 3 million people without anyone noticing? The logistics seemed impossible. Dr. Foster was the Council's top expert on military strategy. She had studied every war and conflict in galactic history. Her job was to predict what different species might do in various situations. But the human situation was breaking all her models. The pattern is wrong, she explained to the emergency council meeting. When species get angry, they usually do one of three things. They attack immediately, they make threats and demands, or they sulk and wait for an apology. Humans are doing none of these things. She activated a holographic display showing human space. Instead, they are systematically removing themselves from all areas outside their original territory. This is not emotional behavior. This is planned, organized, strategic. Intelligence Chief Mara stood up. Her pale blue skin looked almost white under the meeting room lights. My agents have confirmed Dr. Foster's analysis. Every human withdrawal correlates with resource locations. They are not leaving randomly. They are targeting specific valuable positions. The display changed to show a three-dimensional map of known mineral deposits, strategic star positions, and defensive choke points. Small red dots marked where humans had operated bases or stations. Every single one was in a position of tactical or economic importance. They knew, whispered Counselor Vex. They knew exactly where to put themselves to become indispensable. Meanwhile, on the remote asteroid mining facility Epsilon 7, Supervisor Cox was making a discovery that would terrify the Council. The gruff human had spent 40 years mining asteroids in the outer system. He knew every rock, every mineral deposit, every profitable claim in the belt. But during his weekly survey, he found something impossible. Entire asteroids had been moved. Not blown up, not shattered by mining lasers, surgically removed from their orbits with precision that defied understanding. They took only the ones with rare elements, he reported to his supervisors, left all the common iron and nickel asteroids alone, took the platinum, took the quantum crystals, took the exotic matter deposits, and they did it without leaving any trace of how. The efficiency was beyond anything the galaxy had seen before. Human mining operations had always been good, but this was something new. This was technology that made the rest of the galaxy look primitive. But the most disturbing discovery came from Captain Lane of the patrol vessel, Starseeker. She was a veteran explorer who had mapped more unknown space than anyone alive. Her deep-range sensors were the best in the fleet, and they had found something that should not exist. Command, this is Starseeker reporting anomalous readings in Sector 445B. She transmitted. I am detecting massive construction activity in what was previously empty space. The sensor data that came back to the Council made everyone forget how to breathe. Energy signatures bigger than anything ever built. Construction materials moving in quantities that dwarfed the largest galactic projects, and it was all happening in the void between star systems where nobody ever looked. It is not a shipyard, Captain Lane continued, not a habitat, not a defense platform. The energy patterns suggest something completely new, and sensors show similar signatures at 43 other locations. The council chamber erupted in shocked voices. 43 massive construction projects, all happening at the same time. All in secret, all beyond the understanding of galactic science. Admiral Nexus called for order. How big are these structures? He demanded. Captain Lane's voice was quiet when she answered. Preliminary scans suggest each one is the size of a small planet, Admiral. And they are all connected by some kind of energy network we cannot identify. Economic Advisor Nash pulled up financial reports on her datapad. Her hands were shaking. The resource requirements for projects this size would bankrupt the entire galaxy. How are they paying for this? The answer came from an unexpected source. Janitor Morris, a human who had worked in the council building for 20 years, had not left with the others. He was old and sick and claimed he was retired. But Intelligence Chief Mara had been watching him. They are not buying resources, Morris said quietly from the back of the chamber. Everyone turned to look at the old man. They are making them. What do you mean? Speaker Voss asked. Morris smiled sadly. You think humans only learned diplomacy and trade from you. But we learned everything. Craxi military technology, Valonian energy manipulation, Altarian information processing, Zephyr stealth systems. We studied it all, improved it all, and now we are using it all. The old janitor stood up slowly. You wanted us to know our place in your hierarchy. So we studied the hierarchy. We learned its weaknesses, and we decided to opt out. Security guards moved toward Morris, but he held up his hands peacefully. I am not a threat. I am just an old man who stayed behind to deliver a message. He pulled out a small device. In 72 hours, you will receive an invitation. I suggest you accept it. because the galaxy is about to change forever." With that, Morris walked out of the council chamber. Nobody tried to stop him. They were all too stunned to move. Outside, in the darkness of space, automated sensors continued to detect the impossible. Humans were not hiding. They were building something beyond galactic understanding. And they were almost finished. The age of human dependence was ending. The age of human independence was about to begin, and the galaxy was not ready for what that meant. Like Ghost in the Machine Systems Administrator, Quinn had always been proud of her work. For 15 years, she had kept the Galactic Communications Network running perfectly. The network connected 12,000 worlds and carried billions of messages every day. It was the nervous system of galactic civilization. But now it was dying, and Quinn did not understand why. "Another sector just went dark," reported her assistant. "A young Valonian named Pulse. His energy tendrils flickered with stress as he worked at his console. That makes 37 sectors with communication failures in the past week." Quinn studied the network display with growing horror. The galaxy looked like it had a disease. Dark patches spread across the star map where communication relays had stopped working. But these were not random failures. There was a pattern. "Pull up the technical specifications for Sector 15 Alpha," she ordered. Pulse's tendrils went pale as he read the data. The main relay station was built using human quantum technology. The backup systems run on human-designed software. The emergency protocols were written by human programmers. Quinn felt cold despite the warm air in the control room.
"Check sectors 23 beta and 31 gamma. The results were the same."
Every failing sector depended on human technology in some critical way. Technology that was now shutting down in perfect sequence. "They are not attacking us," Quinn whispered. "They are just taking their toys and going home." But the scope of human involvement in galactic systems was bigger than anyone had imagined. It had happened so gradually that nobody noticed. Humans had always volunteered to help with technical problems. They were good at fixing things. They never asked for credit or special treatment. They just quietly made everything work better. Captain Volt commanded the patrol ship Deep Scanner. He was investigating communication failures in the border regions when his own ship started having problems. The navigation computer began displaying error messages he had never seen before. Engineer Beck, "Report to the bridge," he called over the ship's communication system. Beck was a small, nervous woman from the Altarian species. She was excellent with computers, but she looked worried as she studied the navigation display. "Captain, the star charts are corrupted," she said. "We cannot plot a course through sectors 12 through 19. The navigation system says those areas do not exist. How is that possible?" Volt demanded. Beck's voice was quiet. "The stellar cartography database was created by human scientists. They mapped the space lanes. They calculated the safe routes between gravity wells. They marked the hazardous areas. All of that data is being erased." Volt stared at the blank areas on his star map. "How do you erase 3 sectors of space?" "You do not erase the space, Captain. You erase the knowledge of how to travel through it safely." The implications were staggering. Without accurate navigation data, ships could fly into black holes, crash into asteroids, or get lost in nebulae. The galaxy was becoming dangerous to navigate, but the worst discovery was yet to come. Admiral Nexus was in the Defense Command Center when Engineer Beck made her report about the backup systems. She had tried to switch to emergency navigation protocols when the primary systems failed. "Sir, the quantum computers that run our defensive calculations are missing," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Missing?" Admiral Nexus was a big, intimidating Craxi warrior, but even he looked confused. "How do you misplace a quantum computer the size of a building?" "They are not misplaced, sir. They have been removed, physically taken out of our installations and transported away. All of them. Across 12 star systems." The room fell silent except for the hum of electronics. The defense grid was the network of computers that protected the galaxy from invasion. It calculated the movements of millions of ships. It tracked potential threats. It coordinated the response to emergencies. And now it was running on backup systems that were centuries out of date. "How did they get past our security?" Admiral Nexus asked. Beck looked like she might be sick. "Sir, humans designed our security systems. They know every password, every encryption key, every backdoor. They could walk into any of our facilities and nobody would stop them, because the computers think they belong there." Intelligence Chief Mara was studying the pattern of system failures from her office in the deepest levels of the council building. Her screens showed a web of connections between different technologies across the galaxy. The web was collapsing as human-built systems shut down. "They did not just participate in our civilization," she said to her aide, a quiet zephyr named Whisper. "They became the foundation of our civilization, and we never noticed. The evidence was everywhere once you knew what to look for. Translation protocols that helped different species understand each other. Written by human linguists. Quantum relay stations that carried messages across vast distances. Built with human engineering. Security systems that protected sensitive data. Designed by human programmers. Even the council building itself depended on human technology. The life support systems that maintained perfect environments for dozens of different species had been upgraded by human engineers. The gravity generators that kept everyone comfortable had been improved with human innovations. The food replicators that fed thousands of people daily used human-designed nutrient conversion protocols. "We are going to starve in our own building," Whisper observed with typical Zephyr directness. Dr. Oren was working late in his laboratory when he made the discovery that would explain everything. As the council's expert on human psychology, he had access to all historical records about Earth and its people. He was searching for clues about human motivations when he found a human concept that chilled him to his core. Strategic patience, he read from an old Earth military manual. The art of long-term planning and preparation. The ability to wait decades or centuries to achieve important goals. The practice of making yourself indispensable to your enemies so that your eventual departure causes maximum disruption. The manual was 500 years old. Written long before humans had developed space travel. It described tactics used in ancient human wars, but the principles were being applied on a galactic scale. Dr. Oren called an emergency meeting with the council leadership. "They planned this from the beginning," he explained. "Every trade agreement they signed, every technology they shared, every favor they did for us, it was all preparation for this moment." Speaker Voss looked confused, but they seemed genuinely interested in joining our community. "They followed our laws. They respected our traditions. They were learning," Dr. Oren said grimly. "They were mapping our weaknesses. They were making themselves necessary so that when they left, we would be helpless without them." The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message from Quinn in the communications center. "Sirs, you need to see this. Something is happening to the automated systems." They rushed to the communications center to find Quinn staring at her displays in shock. All across the galaxy, automated systems were executing new instructions. Not viruses or attacks, but legitimate software updates that had been waiting dormant in the code for years. "The updates are isolating our systems from each other," Quinn explained.
"Ships cannot talk to stations.
Stations cannot talk to planets. Planets cannot talk to the central government. We are becoming deaf and blind. But the most frightening part was yet to come. As the automated systems executed their new instructions, they displayed a message that appeared on screens across the galaxy. "Thank you for teaching us about civilization. We have learned much. Now we will show you what we have built with that knowledge. Please stand by for further instructions." The message was signed simply, "Humanity." In the silence that followed, everyone realized the same terrible truth. They had not been dealing with an angry child having a tantrum. They had been outmaneuvered by a species that thought in centuries while they thought in years. Humans had been playing a different game entirely, and the galaxy was just now learning the rules. The age of galactic superiority was ending. The age of human equality was about to begin, and nobody knew what price the galaxy would have to pay for the lessons it was about to learn. The Watcher's Scout Commander Jax was known throughout the Galactic Defense Force as the best tracker alive. In 30 years of service, he had found missing ships in asteroid fields, located hidden pirate bases in nebulae, and discovered new worlds in uncharted space. His specialized team aboard the stealth ship Whisper could find anyone anywhere in the galaxy. But the mission to locate human activities was pushing his skills beyond their limits. Day 62 of Operation Ghost Hunt, he recorded in his personal log. "We have followed 17 different energy signatures, investigated 23 gravitational anomalies, and tracked quantum wake patterns across half the galaxy. Every time we arrive at a location, we find nothing but empty space." His first officer, Lieutenant Storm from the Altarian species, worked at the sensor station with growing frustration. Her natural ability to process complex data made her excellent at finding hidden objects, but the humans were like nothing she had ever encountered. "Commander, I am detecting residual heat signatures in Grid 347 Delta," she reported. "The patterns suggest large-scale industrial activity within the last 72 hours. Jax nodded grimly. "Set course for 347 Delta. Maximum stealth protocols." The Whisper was the most advanced scout ship in the galaxy. Its hull could bend light around it, making it invisible. Its engines ran silent, producing no detectable energy signature. Its sensors could pick up the smallest traces of activity from incredible distances. If anyone could find the humans, it was Jax and his team. But when they reached Grid 347 Delta, they found the same thing they always found. Nothing. Empty space. No ships, no structures, no people. Just the fading traces of something that had been there but was now gone. "Sensor analysis complete," Storm reported. "I am reading evidence of massive construction activity, metal fabrication, energy manipulation, resource processing, but whatever they built here has been moved." Navigation Officer Vale, a young Zephyr with exceptional spatial awareness, studied the quantum wake patterns left behind by departing vessels. "Commander, based on these readings, they moved structures the size of small moons. Multiple structures, and they did it in perfect coordination." Jack stared at the empty space on his main screen. Somewhere out there, humans were playing hide-and-seek with the entire galaxy, and they were winning. What Jax did not know was that humanity had spent 2 centuries studying every species in the galaxy with the focused intensity of a species that knew it was outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Felonian stealth technology had been analyzed, improved upon, and incorporated into human designs. Craxi sensor networks had been mapped, tested, and countered with better systems. Altarian information processing had been studied and surpassed through human innovation. The humans were not just hiding. They were demonstrating that they had learned from their teachers and become better than them at their own specialties. Dr. Foster worked in the Strategic Analysis Division of the Council. Her job was to predict what different species might do in various situations. She had built computer models of every major galactic power, tracking their resources, capabilities, and likely responses to different scenarios. But her human prediction model kept breaking. "The pattern makes no sense," she explained to her team of analysts. "Every disappearance correlates with strategic resource locations, but not in any way we can understand. They are not taking the most valuable materials. They are not securing the strongest defensive positions. They are not following any known military doctrine." Her assistant, a logical Craxi named Stone, pulled up a holographic display showing human activities over the past 3 months. "Dr. Foster, what if they are not following galactic military doctrine? What if they are following their own?" The display showed a 3-dimensional map of known human operations. To galactic eyes, it looked random, scattered, inefficient. But Dr. Foster was beginning to suspect there was a pattern they could not see. "Computer, overlay human activities with long-term stellar development projections," she ordered. The new display made her blood run cold. Every human operation was positioned to take advantage of natural galactic development over the next 1,000 years. Star formation patterns, gravitational shifts, resource migration paths. The humans were not thinking in terms of years or decades. They were planning for centuries. Meanwhile, mining supervisor Cox was learning firsthand about human planning. The gruff old asteroid miner had worked the outer system belts for 40 years. He knew every profitable rock, every mining claim, every resource deposit in his sector. But when he conducted his monthly survey, he found something that challenged everything he thought he knew about mining. "Base control, this is Mining Survey 7, he transmitted to the central station. "I need to report impossible activity in the outer belt." The response was immediate. "Define impossible, Cox." Cox looked at his sensor readings again, hoping they would make more sense the second time. They did not. "Control, someone has been mining asteroids in my sector, but they only took specific materials from specific rocks, and they left everything else perfectly intact." He transmitted his scan data to the base. "They extracted all the platinum from asteroid 445 Alpha, but left the iron and nickel untouched. They took all the quantum crystals from asteroid 778 Beta, but did not disturb the surrounding silicates. They harvested exotic matter from asteroid 1247 Gamma with surgical precision. The silence on the communication channel lasted for several long minutes. Finally, Base Control responded, "Cox, are you saying they cherry-picked the most valuable materials from hundreds of asteroids without destroying the asteroids themselves?" "That is exactly what I am saying. And Control? The efficiency ratings are beyond anything we have ever achieved. They extracted 100% of target materials with zero waste and zero environmental damage. Our best mining operations achieve maybe 60% efficiency with massive collateral damage. The implications were staggering. Human mining technology had leaped forward by generations. They were not just competitive with galactic industry, they were superior to it. But the most shocking discovery came from Captain Lane aboard the long-range patrol vessel Starseeker. She was a veteran explorer who had mapped more unknown space than anyone in the galaxy. Her sensors were calibrated to detect the smallest signs of activity across vast distances, and they had found something that should not exist. "Fleet Command, this is Captain Lane reporting Priority Alpha discovery," she transmitted on the emergency channel. "I am detecting massive artificial constructs in Sector 445B. Repeat, massive artificial constructs." The response from Fleet Command was immediate. "Define massive, Captain." Lane looked at her sensor readings again, hardly believing them herself. "Command, I am reading energy signatures equivalent to small stars, construction materials in quantities that exceed our largest shipyards, gravitational anomalies suggesting artificial mass concentrations the size of planets." She paused, knowing how incredible her next words would sound. "Command, based on these readings, humans have constructed at least 47 installations of unprecedented size and complexity, and they are all connected by some kind of energy network we cannot identify." The silence from Fleet Command stretched for long minutes. When they finally responded, the voice sounded shaken. "Captain Lane, are you certain of these readings?" "Command, I have verified the data through multiple sensor arrays. I have run diagnostic checks on all equipment. The readings are accurate. Humans have built something beyond our understanding of what is possible." Lane transmitted her sensor data to Fleet Command, knowing it would cause panic throughout the galaxy. The energy signatures she was detecting suggested technology that made the rest of galactic civilization look primitive, not just advanced. Revolutionary Intelligence Chief Mara received Captain Lane's report in her secure office deep beneath the council building. She had spent months trying to understand human activities, but this data changed everything she thought she knew. "Analysis complete," her computer announced. "Energy patterns suggest matter-energy conversion on a stellar scale. Construction techniques beyond known galactic capabilities. Resource utilization efficiency approaching theoretical maximums." Mara stared at the data in shock. "Computer project timeline for construction of installations this size using known galactic technology. Working. Analysis complete. Estimated construction time using galactic technology. 4,000 to 6,000 years per installation." Mara felt dizzy. "Computer, how long have humans been absent from galactic space?" 96 days. The math was impossible. In 96 days, humans had accomplished what should have taken galactic civilization millennia to achieve. They had not just hidden from the galaxy, they had transcended it. Mara activated her emergency communication system and sent a priority message to the Council. "Human capabilities have been severely underestimated. Recommend immediate diplomatic contact. Situation critical." But even as she sent the message, Mara knew it was too late. Humanity had moved beyond needing galactic approval or acceptance. They had spent 96 days proving that they were no longer the junior members of galactic civilization. They had become something new, something unprecedented, and the galaxy was about to learn what that meant. Far out in the darkness between stars, automated sensors. The revelation. The message arrived exactly 100 days after humanity's departure from galactic civilization. It appeared simultaneously on every major communication network, every government channel, and every emergency frequency in the galaxy. The text was simple, formal, and terrifying. The Earth Federation invites the Galactic Council to witness the inauguration of the independent human sphere. Coordinates attached. Send one diplomatic vessel, unarmed, with senior leadership aboard. Come prepared to discuss new terms of interaction between equals. The message was signed simply, Ambassador Reed, Director of External Relations, Independent Human Sphere. Speaker Voss sat in his private office, reading the message for the 100th time. His tentacles moved nervously as he considered the implications. The language was polite but firm, respectful but confident, and most unsettling of all, it assumed that humanity was now in a position to dictate terms to the galaxy. Independent human sphere, he said aloud. They have created their own government. His aide, a young Valonian named Flux, pulled up analysis reports from the strategic division. Sir, based on the coordinates provided, they want us to travel to empty space in what was previously an unmapped region between star systems. 2 days later, Speaker Voss found himself aboard the diplomatic vessel Harmony with a small delegation of senior council members. Admiral Nexus represented military interests. Trade Minister Yalen spoke for economic concerns. Intelligence Chief Mara handled security analysis. Dr. Foster provided strategic assessment, and Dr. Oren studied human psychology. The ship's captain was an experienced Craxi named Rock, who had navigated dangerous space for 30 years. But as they approached the provided coordinates, even he seemed nervous. "Speakers, you need to see this," he called from the bridge. The delegation rushed to the main viewing deck and stopped in stunned silence. Where their sensors had shown empty space, they now saw something that redefined their understanding of what was possible. An artificial solar system hung in the void before them. A constructed star burned at the center, surrounded by artificial planets in perfect orbital arrangements. Streams of controlled energy and matter flowed between the worlds like glowing rivers in space. The scale was beyond imagination, the technology centuries ahead of anything the galaxy possessed. "By the ancient gods," whispered Admiral Nexus. "How did they build a star?" Captain Rock's voice was shaken as he reported from the bridge. "Sirs, I am reading 47 similar systems within scanning range. This is not the only one. They built 47 artificial solar systems." Dr. Foster's strategic mind tried to process the implications. The energy requirements alone should have been impossible. The materials needed would have bankrupted every world in the galaxy. The technology involved is beyond our theoretical understanding. Their ship was met by a human vessel that appeared beside them without any sensor warning. One moment they were alone in space. The next moment a sleek ship was matching their course and speed as if it had always been there. "Greetings, Council Delegation," came a calm human voice over their communication system. "I am Captain Brooks. Please follow me to New Terra Prime for your meeting with Ambassador Reed." The human ship led them to a space station that challenged every principle of engineering the delegation knew. It was not built. It was grown. Organic curves flowed like living metal, forming structures that seemed to breathe and pulse with their own life. Gardens floated in transparent bubbles connected by streams of light. Waterfalls fell upward, defying gravity with casual ease. Ambassador Reed met them at the docking bay. She was a tall woman with graying hair and calm eyes that seemed to see everything. She wore simple clothes that looked comfortable rather than formal. But there was something in her manner that commanded respect. "Welcome to New Terra Prime," she said with a polite smile. "Thank you for accepting our invitation. I know this must all seem rather overwhelming." Speaker Voss found his voice first. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you do any of this?" Ambassador Reed gestured for them to follow her through corridors that seemed to exist in more dimensions than should be possible. Windows showed views of impossible beauty, forests growing in zero gravity, oceans hanging in space like giant pearls, cities that floated like dreams between artificial suns. "While your council debated the merits of our proposals for refugee protection rights," she said conversationally, "we prepared alternatives. Every treaty you rejected, every right you denied, every dismissal you delivered taught us valuable lessons about the limitations of your system." She led them to a conference room where the walls were made of something that looked like crystallized starlight. Through the transparent surfaces, they could see the bustling activity of the artificial world around them. "We realized that seeking approval from the galactic community was fundamentally flawed," Reed continued. "You had established a hierarchy with yourselves at the top and newcomers at the bottom. You were not interested in partners. You wanted junior associates who would follow your rules and accept your decisions." Trade Minister Yalen spoke up. "But surely there could have been compromise, negotiation. We could have found common ground." Ambassador Reed's smile was patient but sad. "Minister Yalen, in 200 years of galactic membership, how many of our proposals were accepted by the Council?" The silence that followed was answer enough. So we decided to create our own common ground, Reed said. The independent human sphere is not seeking membership in your galactic community. We are offering partnership between equals. She activated a holographic display that showed the scope of human achievement. 47 artificial solar systems, hundreds of constructed worlds, technology that made the rest of galactic civilization look primitive, industrial capacity that dwarfed the combined output of all known worlds. Your species taught us everything we needed to know, Reed explained. Valonian energy manipulation, Craxi military organization, Altarian information processing, Zephyr stealth technology. We studied it all, learned from it all, and improved upon it all. Dr. Oren leaned forward. But the scale of this construction, the resources required, how did you possibly manage the logistics? Reed's expression showed the first hint of pride. Dr. Oren, you studied human psychology for 20 years. What did you learn about our species' greatest strength? Cooperation, he answered immediately. Humans can work together on scales that other species find impossible. Correct. Every human in the galaxy contributed to this project. Not because they were forced to, but because they understood what we were building. A place where humanity would never again have to beg for basic rights. A civilization where our values of cooperation, innovation, and equality could flourish. Admiral Nexus had been studying the technical displays with growing concern. Your defensive capabilities, he said carefully. They seem rather extensive for a peaceful species. Ambassador Reed nodded. Admiral, we learned from the best. Your Craxi military doctrine emphasizes that peace is only possible when aggression is too costly to attempt. We have applied that lesson thoroughly. She gestured to displays showing defensive installations that surrounded the human sphere. We have no interest in conquest or expansion into galactic space. But we will not tolerate interference in our internal affairs or threats to our people. Intelligence Chief Mara asked the question everyone was thinking. What do you want from us? Reed's answer was simple and direct. Nothing. The word hung in the air like a physical presence. Nothing? Speaker Voss repeated. We are not seeking your approval, your membership, your trade agreements, or your protection, Reed explained. The independent human sphere is completely self-sufficient. We can provide everything our people need without any outside assistance. She paused to let that sink in before continuing. However, if you wish to establish new diplomatic relations between our civilizations as equals, we are prepared to discuss terms. Trade Minister Yalen looked confused. But surely you need some kind of economic relationship. Trade, commerce, exchange of goods and services. Ambassador Reed smiled. Minister, our artificial systems produce more rare minerals in a day than your entire mining industry produces in a year. Our energy systems generate more power than all your worlds combined. Our agricultural systems can feed the entire galaxy several times over. What exactly would we need to trade for? The implications hit the delegation like a physical blow. Humanity had not just achieved independence, they had achieved complete economic self-sufficiency on a scale that made the rest of galactic civilization irrelevant. Dr. Foster asked the strategic question, and if we choose not to establish diplomatic relations? Reed's expression remained pleasant, but her voice carried quiet steel. Then we will continue to ignore you as you ignored us. Your ships will not be welcome in our space. Your communications will not be answered. Your problems will not be our concern. You will be on your own, as you preferred us to be. The tour that followed showed the delegation wonders beyond imagination. Cities that floated between dimensions, factories that converted matter into any needed form, farms that grew food from pure energy, schools where human children learned alongside artificial intelligences that thought at the speed of light. But perhaps most impressive were the people themselves. Humans moved with a